Hi, thanks for listening to the Monthly Social here on YouTube. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button. It would mean the world to us. All right, hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Take care. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monthly Social Music Spotlight. I am your host, Guido Piraino, and we're going to talk to a new artist, a Canadian talent, who has just released her first official debut single. And if the name sounds familiar, it should be because this is my oldest daughter, Marina Piraino. Marina, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. Are you nervous?
Yes. I'm always nervous.
Talking to me? I
It's just the interview setting.
I think you'll be okay. Well, you know what's interesting is that typically, um, you might be the first person that I've interviewed in person like this here in the studio. Typically, it's through Zoom and we're, through the computer. So maybe I'm a little nervous and you just don't know it yet, right? But I'm sure you'll carry me through
Yeah, me.
it. Look, this isn't the first time that you've been on the monthly social. You've been here doing other segments like during the pandemic and as a student returning to school. And then we had some fun with the Hello Fresh segment because you
Yes.
enjoyed that so much. Um, have you gotten used to me asking you questions?
Um, I don't think so. I just, yeah, I just get nervous. Doesn't even matter that you're my dad. I literally see you every day. You can ask me questions, but it's like the second there's a microphone, I'm like, oh.
Well, I don't know about that because I saw you sing, and we're going to find out a little bit more about that. And you were in front of a microphone for that. So let's talk a little bit about music. Um, Look, I may know the answer to some of this, possibly, but most of our listeners don't know yet as they get to know you in this capacity. Tell us, what's your earliest memory of how you got into music?
I think that there are a lot of like different memories at the start that could have been technically the first. But the first thing that kind of pops into my mind, like first thing, is like when I was in the crib and you would play guitar to me and I'd throw my socks at you. And I think that's probably where, you know, you're playing and you're singing and mom's singing and just that's probably where it all kind of kick-started. But you could go even earlier and say like when I was in the womb and be like, well, I played to you then too, and um I'd respond or whatever, and that's probably how it all kind of kicked off the music journey, I guess.
Do you remember? I'm just curious because you mentioned this crib thing. Do you remember some of the songs I would play for you?
When I was in the crib, no, but throughout my childhood, I remember like when I would go to bed, like you'd play Diamond Ring a lot. You play that song.
John Bon Jovi, Diamond
Yeah.
Ring. Yeah.
Um, I don't know. You've listened to a lot of different songs. There's so many throughout my childhood. Oh my gosh, like Closing Time.
Yeah.
Um,
Semi
there's
Semisonic.
yeah,
Closing
yeah.
Time. Yeah.
There's a bunch of them. I have like a whole playlist of them, but yeah, I have to remember them. But I don't know if I remember any from the crib. Do you remember the ones from the crib?
There's one that you still like today, and it's from John Mellencamp.
Oh, Wild Nights. I love that one.
Yeah, I used to play that to you.
When I was in the crib?
Yeah, yeah,
Really?
that, and Guns N' Roses, Patience.
Yeah, that one's good.
Yeah,
I like Beaches of Cheyenne also. I don't know when you played that one, but I
yeah.
love that song.
Garth Brooks, Beaches of
Yeah.
Cheyenne. Yeah, so there's a few. That's interesting. Look, there's a lot of people in the family who either play an instrument or sing.
Yeah.
Um, who are some of the ones that you would say may have influenced your music journey so far?
Well, I think it all kind of has a root, and No, he's like a big part of that. He's, always singing. He's like anytime you see him in every room of the house, it's like always his, Italian singing, and he's got his little recorder and he records himself playing his songs, and that's probably a part of it. And his dad was a poet in Italy too, right? So I think that the whole music and arts and creativity thing has always just been generational. Um, if music can be even passed down like that. Um, but it's happened with what, four generations?
Yeah, no, I mean, look at Nono's dad for sure, right? I guess, are you counting me in there?
Yeah, I am.
I'm still a music hobbyist. I think you've.
Well, I think like it's a series of music
I
hobbies,
guess so.
no?
I guess so,
I
yeah.
mean, I could be a hobby. I mean, I have a song,
Yeah. I
but
mean, Nono's dad, Papachicho, you're right, he was a poet, but and my brother, Uncle Rolly, recorded him, right? We have all those poems, and it's too bad we don't have the book because he
yeah,
actually had a book where he had written them all out. And I'm not sure where it is, but I don't think Nono had it, but it would be interesting to see that.
yeah.
Sorry, at the end there you said I have a song. What did you mean by that?
Well, coming soon.
Ah. I thought maybe you were going to give us some other surprise that I don't know about.
No,
So,
God.
um, well, speaking about that, look at earlier in the introduction, I said this is your first official debut single, but you have written other music and other songs before this one. What makes this one the first official one to you?
For that, I'd say that it's the process. I don't think we've like ever gone this far in like I've written songs, but we've never actually had them like professionally recorded and gone to use that kind of equipment and actually recorded and have harmonies and background effects and microphones and like to that extent. Um and just releasing it so that it's on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's like all of these different components, doing like a little photo shoot for the CD cover. Like those aren't things you do for just little songs you write
Yeah.
normally. I think that's kind of what separates it from the rest.
Does it feel official in some kind of way?
I think that having it be on like streaming platforms, and also because I've got like the music accounts now too, where I'm like, hey, look at this, and I'm posting as if I'm like an artist. And I think that that's kind of the official part. Like, yeah, I do have this out. Go stream it.
Are you an artist?
I like to think of myself as one.
Yeah.
Like, I'm no Taylor Swift, but
Are you a Taylor Swift fan? Are you a Swiftie?
of course I am.
Um, let's stick with you. Let's stick with Marina.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, I pitched the song title Coming Soon to you, and I gave you an idea of what I thought the possible direction of the song might be. Now, the final product, so everybody knows, is very different from that initial idea that I had. Um, but how were you able to do that? How were you able to take, the title, kind of what I had in my mind, but then take it in this new direction that you did?
I think there's like so much story to that because I think so the first kind of idea was that like I think it was like a girl like is waiting for an engagement ring or something like that. Like tell me it's coming soon, she's waiting, she's not sure when it's coming. And I think the part that I liked about your idea was the title, Coming Soon. And I thought about what you were saying, like having it be about waiting and like um all that sort of stuff. And I thought about how coming soon's kind of in the media. Like, I'm releasing this song, it's coming soon, or check out my new movie, coming soon in theaters or something. So I liked that that could kind of have that kind of resonance with the media. And I also liked how it was almost like a play on words, kind of, because look, Marina Piraino coming soon, like coming right at you. But I I think that for the way that it's switched in the end of how I kind of shifted the perspective was putting it into a perspective that was more for my age group in a sense because most 16-year-olds aren't thinking about getting wifed up at this age. um but what I tried to do is write it from a perspective that you could still apply it to that situation, but you could apply it to any situation. You could apply it to waiting for, a relationship, waiting for, you know, a dream to come true, waiting for that ring. It's it's kind of just been expanded and I tried to write it generalized enough and switch specifics, like take out specific things that would insinuate, marriage and kind of make it into something that everybody can enjoy.
So you took my boomer idea and modernized it, is what you're saying.
If you want to word it like that. So
That's
it's a boomer idea.
yeah.
If I was like, 40, sure.
We love, listen, if you're 40, you should still listen to the song
God, not no
because it
discrimination.
applies. It
Because that's
applies.
the beauty of
It
it. You
applies.
can still listen to it and it applies to you. But
Right.
the same song that applies to a 40-year-old or an 80-year-old even could apply to like a 10-year-old or 18-year-old.
So as much as you have that going on, what is coming soon for you?
Well, some people say like, okay, so now that it's released or they hear it and they're like, well, what's it about? Like, or who's it about? Right? And they're like, oh, who's it about? Right? Um, but I don't think it's like a specific person. I think it's just from a certain perspective of, you're waiting and you're kind of wondering when something's going to come soon. And for me, what I tried to kind of imagine when I was writing it was like that, I'm 16, right? And at 16, like people kind of like expect people to be in like relationships or, you see people in the hallways at school and they're like all over each other. Or you see like even in media, you see, movies and it's like, oh, that couple's so cute. Or you see it in books and you're like, I love them. Um, but then you're kind of like, wait a minute, like when's it my turn, Um, first of all, is it like when's it gonna happen? And for like first and foremost, is it gonna happen?
Yeah.
And that doubts kind of the like hope in coming soon. It's like I really hope it's coming soon. Like tell me that it is going to. But I think that it can be taken in so many different ways because it even like how I've been writing songs for a while, I feel like it's always kind of just been something that I've done naturally. And I think that, you know, dreaming that you could even actually like officially release a song is kind of tell me that it's coming soon. Tell me that it's possible. Give me the confirmation that something as crazy as that could even happen.
So it's pretty all encompassing is what you've been telling us for the last little bit here. Um, and it sounds like you also wrote it from a what might be a relatable perspective,
Mm-hmm.
not just for yourself, but for other teenage girls or other women or other men even,
Yeah, guys, yeah.
right? Because there could be boys out there going, when's it coming soon? What is it that's coming soon? And it could just be about anything. So I do enjoy the versatility of that and how you were able to take that and make it so universal, if you will. Look, before the song was released officially, your first interview was with Brian Kelly
Mm.
from the Sioux Star, who kind of helped bridge the fact that your roots, our family roots, are in Sault Ste. Marie. And here we are in Richmond Hill, sort of thing, right?
Yep.
But so he did an article that's in the Sioux Star, and it's on your website, marinapiraino.com, where there's a link back to the Sioux Star article itself. But in that interview, you mentioned that there were parts of the song that you wrote and put together on your way up to Sault Ste. Marie. I was in that car with you when you did that, and I had no idea that you were
Yeah.
doing this. So tell us how you managed to do that while we were traveling in the car.
So first of all, I barely managed. It's actually a little bit insane because when an idea comes to you, you're just like, oh my God, I have to write this down because it could be absolute garbage or it could be something that turns into something, right? So yes, you were in the car and you had no idea because when I get an idea, I'm not the kind of person who's like, stop everything. I have an idea. Turn that country radio down. Everybody, like, stop what you're doing. It's like, because then people expect something, right? Or like, if you like say stop, I have a song idea, then they're like, oh, how's that song coming? Or when's that song coming? And it's like, it's not coming soon. So like, it's not a thing. It's like if it doesn't work out, So there's always that precaution. But it was literally me, and I just had ideas for lyrics. I was typing them all out. And I recently discovered that I actually think I came up with pretty much the whole song on that drive. And I did find a voice memo in my phone because voice memos are my best friend, and I was recording it because I was trying to memorize this melody that I'd come up with, and I was like trying to hum it into it, but while being quiet enough that nobody could hear me. So I listened back to that voice memo. I remember when I like got home. This was after, right? I think I wrote it coming to the Sioux. And then when we left the Sioux, like that's when I had to go home and still remember it. So this was like 6 days later, probably.
Yeah.
Because I checked the dates on the voice memos. And I got home and I rushed into my room and I grabbed out my guitar and I played the recording. and there's nothing in the recording that I can hear except for the country radio. And I was like, no, what am I gonna do? But I actually remembered the melody and I'm like, okay, if I remember this, it's got to be something. And although it was a bit different, because I have that recording too when I came home and sang it for the first time, and there are parts that sound a bit different, but that's kind of the development. It hits me at random times, and it like I could be looking out the window, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I have an idea. I need to write this down right now, and I go in my notes app and I start typing away. But
There's so much that you said there, like like telling everybody I was listening to country music.
sorry.
No, there's not. I love country music.
No,
Country
country
music's great.
music's good.
Yeah,
Not in that moment, but
but you
it's
also said something else, and I'm just curious about it. Um, Telling people that it's not coming soon.
good.
Were you dropping hints like that, um,
No. I
on
don't
purpose, or do you think they were just happening, or?
I don't think so. I mean, I was mostly making just a pun now, but
No.
I just don't want um to tell people certain things because then they expect it, right?
Right.
And then when there are cases when something isn't coming soon, you don't want to give people the hope that it is. Because if it's not, then there's like an obligation and then things get complicated and then people are expecting things that just aren't coming, which I hope is not how people feel about
But it
coming
was
soon.
coming soon. It was. It
But
was
it
coming soon.
was, and
Yeah.
it's amazing that I could even remember all that for the 6 day period in between. Um,
That's
and yeah,
awesome. That's fun. It's a fun story. I didn't know you were doing that while we were driving.
yeah.
Um, who are you hoping listens to the song, or who do you think your audience is? Is there someone specific, or?
I mean, I mean, I kind of said it. Like, I think it's just kind of for everybody. Everybody who wants to listen, everybody who is waiting for something that hasn't happened, and everybody who's manifesting something, who's got hope for something, and is whether it's surrounding around a relationship or, a dream that they have or anything that they want. And I think it can be for all ages, because the theme is so vague, but you can apply it into your own specific situation too, no matter what that situation is, I feel like.
So you're hoping everybody listens to it. You're not
Pretty
like,
much.
hey, I just don't need fellow teenagers to listen
Yeah,
to
like
it.
I
I'm
didn't,
hoping that everybody can find something
yeah,
kind of like a piece of art, right?
yeah.
Everybody looks at it and maybe sees their
You
own
can
thing.
interpret it however you want.
Interpret it however you want. You released the song mid-November, the 15th of November. Since there's a lot of radio stations right now playing Christmas music already, a lot of the music distribution channels, they're really focused on Jingle Bells and other
Hmm.
Christmas classic favorites. Are you worried that they'll overlook your debut single coming soon because it's the Christmas season or the holiday season?
I think it was a concern at one point in time because we were kind of like, oh, like if everybody's releasing Christmas music, like nobody's gonna play a non-Christmas song. Um, just because and we didn't mean for it to be, I don't think, released as late as it did either, but it's just how it happened. But I think that because there's so much Christmas music, there's less like competition in the non-Christmas music. So it kind of like shines a little bit because yeah, you're all releasing Christmas music, but look, I've got like this single and it's not Christmas, but it's something. And because it's that separation, maybe somebody would listen to it over if it were a Christmas song when there's other artists that are currently releasing those.
So not worried about the holiday season.
I don't think so. I'm not trying to be.
Just enjoying for whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, where or who have you distributed the song to so far?
The song has been distributed to a lot of um different pop radio stations across Canada, internet radio stations across Canada, the US, the United Kingdom, Australia, to some like colleges and universities as well. So it's been distributed quite a bit, I think.
Yeah, you've sent out quite a far reach using
Yeah.
different distribution channels, it sounds like, yeah. Um, I know it's not always easy because there's so many. Do you know which radio stations have played it so far? Are there any that have given you some heads up?
I know of a few, so I think Music Mafia played it. They might have been the first to play it. And there's Alternative Twist, Banks Radio Australia, There's CJMQ 88.9, I think it was. It's Now Radio. There's quite a few that I think have played it. And if I didn't say anybody else who's playing it, thank you for playing it. And yeah, I think those are the main ones that I know of at the moment, though.
You know, you left out the Path Radio because the
Oh,
Path Radio, I see.
you know what? I was gonna mention it actually. I was gonna
Yeah,
mention it, and then I was like, oh, does he want me to mention it?
that's okay. No, you know what? I actually, for again, for those who don't know, and you know, I also help operate the Path Radio, pathradio.com.
Hmm.
But I actually purposefully stood back and made sure I wasn't the first one to do that. You know, just to give you your own space or whatever. But then other people started playing it, so I started spinning it as well, and there's some success there. Yeah. Actually, people can go there. I know, like now we've got all these streaming services, but they can
Yes.
go to the Path Radio. It can actually there's a request song feature,
Mm,
and they could pick whatever song, not just yours, but they
mm.
could pick yours and you know, put it in for request too. So, um, do you think that this is a song that could make mainstream charts if you had a label or maybe some additional support behind it? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that it could be like more helpful. I think it could be easier, less work for, you to help me with, but I think that when I was creating Coming Soon, I did try to make it have more of a modern sounding kind of thing. So like I think it's an all right song. Could it be mainstream? There's a lot of really good artists, so it's always hard to say, but having a label and stuff would definitely, you know, give it a chance if it were to ever be anything.
Hey, labels. I think she's, you know, interested if you're interested. Yeah, it's interesting because you said modernized and like the producer, and we're going to talk about that in a second. That was one of the first pieces of feedback that you got on the song was,
Hmm.
wow, does it ever have like a modern, fresh sound? And that seems to have stuck with you throughout. But I'm just curious, what kind of other feedback have you gotten from friends and family so far, or anybody who's listened to it that's, you know, engaged with you that they're not immediate friends and
Hmm.
family, but have said something to you?
I think that most reactions have been positive. Like everybody's pretty supportive and they're like, whoa, like you have a song? That's like pretty cool. Oh my gosh, it sounds awesome or whatever. So it's nice to hear that people are enjoying it. But yeah, it's definitely been mostly positive feedback. Everybody's kind of saying it like it sounds really good, should play on the radio. But if it's family and friends, like of course they're gonna say that. But yeah.
Is it important to have that positive feedback from them?
I think because it's like it's different. It's not me just writing in my room and saving that voice memo and not ever doing anything with it. It's because I'm actually it's a change. You're actually releasing something. So knowing that there's people that are kind of supporting you and are gonna say that it's good and
Yeah.
motivate you to not, retract back into being afraid to do something different. It's definitely nice and encouraging to have that kind of support. Um, but you do wonder if sometimes they're just being biased, but
Positive bias.
yeah.
Um, when you were setting up the song for distribution, one of the distributors asked you to pick three other artists that you sounded like. Did you have a hard time doing that? And who did you end up picking?
Well, you know I did. I had such a hard time, and I don't even like this question, no disrespect to you, but I literally thought the world was gonna end. I was like, that's it. I got this song, but can't release it because I just can't do this. I really don't like comparing myself to other people for music because it feels like ingenuine and it feels a little bit arrogant, or at least I find it arrogant. Like I see people who post online, they're like, "Oh, do you like Gracie Abrams and do you like Olivia Rodrigo? Well, listen to me then." And I feel like that's just kind of a bold statement. Like again, you could be really good. Um, but like be your own person. Like I feel like my thing was I want to be me. I think I sound like me. I don't think I sound like, the famous singers that you might know. I think that I take inspiration from them and I think that I admire their writing styles and their like melody, like writing capabilities, but like I don't just want to be a copy. I don't want you to just think of somebody else when you're thinking of me. I want you to think of me. Um, so it was hard to actually say, "Oh, I think I sound like this person, and this person," because I don't know, I just find it not not very nice. It's like, I don't know. I find it arrogant.
Yeah, it's if I think too is what you're saying is I kind of want it to be Marina Piraino,
Hmm.
not Taylor Swift
Yeah.
or Gracie Abrams or so
Yeah,
so.
and
And it's nice to hear those things. It's an honor,
mhm.
right? But you don't want to hitch
No.
your trailer to them either, right?
And it made me a little bit nervous at first because I was like, oh, like I don't want to be advertised as, do you like this person? Well, listen to her. Because I'm like, that's not me. I'm me. And I also don't want the expectation either. Like if you like, Gracie Abrams or something, and then you listen to me and you're expecting it to sound like Gracie Abrams and it doesn't sound exactly like Gracie Abrams, it's again that like expectation or whatever.
Talking about expectations, I mentioned earlier the producer,
Yeah.
and having done that, it's the first time that you worked with a producer.
Mhm.
Um, what was that experience like? Was it what you expected?
I don't know. So for expectations for that, I don't even know if I necessarily had any. I had no clue how it works because, I've only ever written songs in my bedroom and, in the car that one time. But it's it's definitely interesting. When I got there, I think it was a lot more chill than I was expecting it to be. Like it was very like calm and I was like, a nervous wreck as usual. Um, but it was interesting. It was like, yeah, it's hard to describe. It's a little bit surreal. But you get there and it's kind of chill and you've got like, um like the producer, he's like kind of getting the instruments together and he's like starting it out and you're wondering where it's going. Like, oh my God, is this gonna turn out good? And I think I even messaged you. I was like, Dad, like, what if I don't like the song in the end? We just paid all this money. And now, like, what if I don't like it? And you're like, you're gonna like it. I'm like, what if I don't? I can't ask
It's
people to change my people pleaser. This doesn't work for me.
it's trusting
Um,
the process
but yeah, but
and
then as it was going, I was like,
yeah,
oh, okay, like we're gonna be fine.
yeah, trusting
Um,
the advice because the
yeah,
producer has like
yeah,
that
yeah,
feedback that they give you and
yeah. So it ended
yeah.
up being okay, but
What would you say is the hardest and easiest things that you did working on the song during the recording part of it?
okay. So during the recording part, so we'll start with um, we'll start with hardest. So I think for the song or whatever, um, I think the most difficult part was the harmonies. Like there's certain like parts in the song where you'll hear like the harmonies or whatever, like on the "Can you hear me," or like on the "Still waiting, waiting." And as cool as they sound, and as much as I love them, getting those to be like how they were was very stressful because I was trying to like do it perfectly. And like sometimes like my mind would be saying one thing, but then my voice was like, no, we're gonna do this instead. And I'm like, you have to listen to me. Like I'm in charge, not you. And then I realized I'm crazy, but I'm trying to like get it right. And it took a few tries and I had to hear it a couple times and have that starting point so that I could be on the right note for some of them. Because you're hearing the normal melody and you have to sing like a lower or a higher one, so it's different. And you're trying to remember your stuff, but then you're hearing something different in your ears, so you're like, what am I supposed to do? So that was probably the hardest part, but it was okay in the end, and I think it was definitely worth it. The easiest part? Hmm. I don't know if it was the easiest, but I'll say it was the most fun. I liked doing the ad libs like throughout the song
Hmm,
because once it was done, what we did is we kind of just had it um like it was just a recording like throughout the entire thing, and I would just kind of do like a whoa whoa or like a like anywhere I felt like I could just do those little moments, right? So there wasn't any expectation. It was
right.
kind of just whatever happens happens. We'll use it or we might not use it. Just do whatever you want. So I think we got some like cool parts or some of my favorite parts of those little ad libs. And I'd say those were the easiest just because I was not I mean I was nervous because I'm nervous about everything, but I I I think that once I did it the first time, afterwards I was like, wait, this is kind of fun. So it became easier.
Settled in.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
With the song out and getting airplay, You've also now started working on a couple of videos.
Hmm.
Can you tell us anything about the videos? Are there any spoilers or early hints that you're willing to drop or?
Well, right now, a lyric video for the song is in the works so that we can have lyrics for people who, want to follow along and, another creative element people can kind of just get involved with coming soon in. Um, and hopefully there'll be the music video soon that there's a process to get that done as well eventually, but those are kind of what's in the plan at the moment.
And are you gonna have those on YouTube
Oh
or the
yeah, so
website or?
YouTube, the my YouTube thing should be up soon. So that coming soon. It should be up soon. So then when those are posted, you can find those there.
Now, talking about platforms, you've been posting on a couple of different platforms. Of course, you have your website, marinapiraino.com. You have Facebook, Instagram, and you just started TikTok.
Hmm.
All can be found using Marina Piraino Music as your name. Do you have a favorite out of those? Are you engaging with fans on any of them or?
Hmm. I don't know if I have a favorite per se. I probably do a bit on Instagram that I like keep up with. I try to keep up. I try to interact and say thank you to people when I can. It's a little busy. I've got, a lot of school and I'm like, when do I have time to balance school and this and other stuff? So it's all a process, but I do try to, be active when I can and
No, I think that's important, right? Because you are in school during the
Mhm.
day and um, you don't have a label and a PR management team behind you. So you kind of get on there when you can get on there and send stuff out and things like that. So it's worthwhile mentioning, right? So nobody feels ignored sometimes.
Yeah.
Talking about other products that you have, you made a CD. Are you doing anything special with the CD or?
Well, we're we're selling CDs. You want one? $5, people, come on. Songs are expensive. I need to make that income back. No, but yeah, we're selling the CDs. Those it's kind of just a special thing for, the first release, like first song ever, right? Kind of a keepsake that you can have with you. I think that it's what did I want to say? It's for Christmas, be a great gift to give to people. And I might give some to people for Christmas because it's kind of cool. And yeah.
Right on. Um, where can people buy your song? And do you have any other merchandise yet, or is more if you have it, what's there or
Mhm.
what's coming maybe?
So for buying the song, you can do that on Apple Music,
Yeah.
or I think that it's on marinapiraino.com. So if you go there, you can find it and download it. And what was the second half of your question?
Any merch?
Oh, right. So we do have a little bit of merch. There's a couple of t-shirts, there's a hoodie, also on marinapiraino.com at the store. So, if you really want to support me and prove that you're a dedicated fan, I'd head to that store right now.
I'm gonna have to buy one. I don't think I bought one yet.
No, you didn't.
I didn't.
Come on, Dad, what is this?
I don't know. I like it because it's got that little symbol.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll save that. We'll talk about the symbol some other time. We can't give everything away, right, Marina?
gotta keep some secrecy.
Gotta keep some secrecy. Um, do you have any live performances coming up?
I am performing at my school coffee house, which is like a talent show. And I'm going to be singing with one of my friends, and we're going to perform a Gracie Abrams song called Cedar. And we're hoping that that goes well. It's on December 11th at 7 p.m. So that's fun.
$10 at the door?
$10 at the door. Whoever
Yeah.
wants to come and prove that you're a dedicated Marina Piraino fan, we will be waiting.
Are you gonna have any CDs with you in case anybody wants one?
You know what? I'll bring them.
All
You
right.
come with your money.
Come with your mind. $5 for the CD.
The low, low price of $5 for a keepsake forever.
Will you autograph it?
I will. I will autograph.
Right on. Any special, will you write special messages too? Like best wishes
I
to.
don't know, you might be getting ahead of yourself, man. I'm gonna have to up the price.
That
It's the business we're talking
was
about.
fast. That was fast. Um, there's a few people who've asked when you're going to do your next song. What do you say to that?
Go stream coming soon. Like songs are expensive. It's a lot of process to write a song too, and sometimes songs are written really quickly, but I think coming soon actually took quite a bit of had a bit of evolution to it, a bit of development in terms of how it came to be its final position. Um, I think that if you want a new song, yeah, go stream coming soon so that I can afford a new song. Um, and I definitely would be open to having a new song in the future. Like I'm not like I'll never release another song. It's definitely possible that I will. Um, but yeah, it's just a matter of when the time comes, it'll come, just like it did with coming soon. So.
So in 2025. All
Might be getting ahead of yourself again, but
right. All right.
it really depends on kind of how life goes. I feel like when life wants something to happen, life will make it happen, and the opportunity will arise if it is meant to be. So right now I
Okay.
want to focus on coming soon. So if you're enjoying that, keep streaming and maybe you'll get another one.
Yeah, add it to playlists, right?
Yes, add it to
Add it
playlists,
to
tell
playlists.
your friends.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the I noticed that one of the messages you got, I think it was on Facebook. It was Song of the Day,
first
named
time
Song
playing
of the
it.
Day. I know it's been top 10 on a
Oh,
couple of different stations as well. So
that's pretty cool.
it is pretty cool. Look, I've asked you a lot of questions, no different than what I do with most of the guests that come on the show. So, there was no preferential treatment here as far as the
No.
questions go. Um, but I am curious, because you said at the beginning you're nervous. What's it like working with your dad on music and on these projects? Is he hard to get along with or what?
You know what? That's interesting. I think we're both very creative people, and sometimes, not to toot our own horns or anything, but we have very different visions sometimes. So sometimes like you'll be on like one page of the book and I'm on like the back of the book and like it's just entirely different. So we both have ideas, but sometimes they conflict and I'm probably not the easiest person to work with either. But but it's because I've got ideas too, and I'm like, oh, is this how I want to be represented? And um, kind of figuring out what I like and if I'm gonna release a song that I want it to be me. Um, so I think that sometimes we have our moments where we're like, oh man, I don't understand why are they acting
How
that
does it
way?
end though?
But it usually ends in well, a form of compromise, or I just figure something else out and propose my idea to you, and you kind of go along with it.
Yeah.
But I've been told that I'm a difficult artist.
I've actually, if I can, I've actually enjoyed the process because sometimes like you say, I'll pitch the idea and I could tell you're like, I got to think about this. And it's usually like you're going to come up with something else. But it's kind of neat because it pushes you a little bit out of
Yeah.
your comfort zone. And then you end up coming up with something. I look at it and I go, wow, that's way better than my idea. So it's just pushing you into that space where you do get ultra creative. And I think that's what happened with Coming Soon. Like I
Hmm.
remember my first memory, if I could share with you,
Hmm.
like when you first came and said, "Hey, remember that song that you had that idea coming soon?" I'm like, "Yeah." You're like, "I have it. I want you to listen to something, but you just got to know it's really different. It's not like what you had in mind." And I'm like,
At all.
"Okay." And then you played it, and I think I was like, "Wow, that's really good." So you took it to that next level, and I think, like I said, you just went the idea pushes you into a different zone. And I think that's one of my favorite things of having worked with you on this stuff is watching you get into those spaces and stuff. So we'll
Hmm.
see what comes with the other songs.
Yeah,
Um, Look, I know you gotta go do homework.
I
And
do.
you do. You have like two tests tomorrow or something?
No, next
No,
week, but
next week.
still, it's all building up.
It's all about building up and you've got some great academic accolades, so everybody's proud of you for that too.
Thank you.
So I want to thank you for doing the show. I know it wasn't easy talking to me in the role of dad sometimes in this, but it was fun, I
It wasn't
think.
so bad. It
Yeah.
was fun.
Is there anything that you'd like to say to listeners or anyone else before we sign off?
Um, well, obviously, thank you to anybody who has streamed the song. There's been a few artists who've also supported my music journey, which is really nice. I think Robbie Hart, Chris Hale of the White House. There's, there's a few people who've really supported me and tried to, you know, advocate for coming soon and listen to this, which is really helpful and definitely not something they have to do as artists, but it's really nice that they like do it for new artists. So big thank yous all around and push stream coming soon.
Yes, thank you. And thank you to those artists as well. It takes a lot, I think, for one artist to support
Mhm.
another. And Robbie and Chris have both extended themselves to you. So as well, thank you to them for doing that and working with you,
Mhm.
Robbie too, like directly and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
and sending you stuff. So well, thank you, Marina. For those listening, thank you. That is Marina Piraino, and she's been talking to us about her debut single coming soon. And from what we can tell so far, she has arrived. She'll be giving us some great follow-up content on the debut song in the form of videos and other material. And maybe she'll deliver some new content in 2025. For now, follow her on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as it's coming out, and as well, check out her stuff on marinapiraino.com and add coming soon to your playlist. Thank you and have a good night.